Hello and welcome to day 31 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. So let's find an opponent here and see if we get the black pieces again. Yes, the black pieces. Why do I get those every time? Alright, so e4, we'll play e5, and so they attack our pawn and we'll defend. So our goal today is to not run out of time. So I have to watch that. Okay, so they castle. So I believe I just want to play knight to f6 here, get ready to castle myself. Okay, so they attack in the middle here. So what should we do? Do we just attack with our bishop, or capture with our bishop? I think that could be the best move. But then they'll be able to chase us back, or capture us. Then we lose the bishop pair. All right, well, I guess this way we at least get a pawn out of it, even though we'll probably lose the bishop pair if they decide to capture here. But we can just capture with our knight, I guess. All right. Well, let's see what happens. So at least by doing this, it keeps them from being able to develop their bishop, because then we could just capture here and attack their rook. If they develop their knight, I guess we could capture and double their pawns up, break apart their pawns over here, and then they would have a long-term weakness there. They'll probably just capture here, I'm guessing. Knock out our bishop pair. They could chase us away with c3, and then we just have to retreat. Okay, so they decide to do that. What would be best here? Just to capture with the knight, I assume. So we capture. If they play this to attack us, well then I guess we could just cover with this. We have to watch out. They don't have a little trap here to capture us. And, all right, well, we have to do something here. So, do we capture with the pawn? Then they could start chasing us here. All right. If we capture with the knight here, all right, we'll just go ahead and do that, because now we're threatening. Well, not really threatening. There's a possibility if something happens, we're targeting this c2 pawn, and we could try and go after the rook. But what was that? I was looking at some threat of them attacking here. So that's a possibility. If they push this pawn and then we protect it here, if we protect it with the d6 pawn move, and then they capture and we recapture, well then there's a threat of them taking this pawn. And if our king goes after that, we're still protected. All right. We probably should go ahead and castle now. Let's see. Should we go ahead and castle? We could just immediately go after that bishop force him to make a decision there. You know, or do we castle? So because he has two pieces developed, we have two pieces, I guess. But he has that bishop pair. So maybe if we attack him immediately, well, we'll attack him, see what he does here. You know, at worst, it brings our queen out. If he captures, you know, he'll probably retreat, keep his bishop pair. And then what? Do we go ahead and castle after that? Probably. Probably we should go ahead and castle. All right, so at least they're taking a while to think about this. So we need to castle. We need to move this pawn up. Let's see, probably just move it here to d6. Then we could possibly move our bishop up here, try and knock out his bishop. Although, well, that's no big deal. We need to get rid of one of his bishops. So whenever your opponent has the bishop pair and you do not, you want to try and get rid of one of those bishops. So all right. Should I castle there? I have to think about, all right, whatever, we'll just go ahead and castle, but I have to think about him pushing this to attack there. If he does that, I mean, I guess I could ignore it and just castle. Or if he does that, I could just go ahead and develop this bishop. Yeah, I need to do that as well. So I need to get this bishop up here. We'll attack his bishop. Oh, and let's see. Huh. I guess, well, okay, now that this is protected, there's also this threat of g5, pushing him back, and then we can capture this pawn and attack him. So that's a possibility as well. Okay, so he goes ahead, he does that. All right, I guess I could ignore that. Go after his bishop. Ignore that and go after his bishop. But if I do that, all right, I could capture with that, with the knight, and that way I'm not doubling pawns up. So we also have the possibility of attacking his queen there. Does that do anything? If we bring our bishop up there and attack, the queen would have to move. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have this as well? Do we just capture that pawn? No, we can't because of the knight. All right, so I'm going to say we just go after his bishop there. Force him to make a decision about that. All right, so let's see what he decides to do here. All right, well, if he captures, then we can bring our knight. He's going to wreck our pawns here, it looks like, because, you know, he'll capture, and then we recapture. Then he'll capture here, and we can't capture with the queen. Well, now I'm thinking we could recapture with the pawn. No, then he'll capture and we have doubled pawns. If he goes after this, then we capture with the pawn. And can we push forward? No. Oh yeah, then we could push forward. Because, well, would this pawn still be here? All right, well, I guess I could have immediately attacked with this pawn as well, with a b5 move. You know, it would be protected by this knight. That might have been a possibility. All right, so what will he try and do here? He could just go ahead and capture here. If he captures with his bishop, we can just recapture here. Okay, so he decides to do that. All right, so now we pretty much, I guess, should do that. Okay, so now what he's probably going to do is, well, we have this knight up here. So if he captures, he'll just capture here. Then if we capture with the knight, you know, he could capture our queen, we capture, then he captures our rook. He gets his pawn back. But we'll have a rook here in the center. So will we be able to move here? You know, have some counterplay with our rook. So here's what I'm thinking. He captures our bishop, you know, unless he wants to keep the bishop pair. He could just capture here and then wreck our pawns. You know, he may want to keep his queen available too. So, I don't know. He may do that. He may capture here. Then we capture with a pawn. Then he could recapture. Well, no, capture, capture. He would have to have his queen up here to be able, so he might just capture here. If he does that, I have to make a decision. Okay, so that I was not expecting. I was not expecting that. All right. Well, is there a way we can pile up on this isolated pawn here? Is there any way to do that? And also, do we just go here and attack his queen? He could capture and attack our queen. So, all right, do we drive that back? Maybe we drive that back. But then he'll be attacking this pawn. So, do we just need to castle? All right, so now he made it a little more complicated, which I guess is good on him. Um, we drive this guy back. Then he'll be attacking this pawn. We'll have to retreat and protect it. Well, he could also try and put pressure. Well, he can't go there because of this knight. So, all right. What do we have developed? We have 3 pieces developed. They have 2. We could attack them, drive them back, but then we would have to retreat to here. Well, no, we could develop our queen. That's a possibility. Just develop the queen there to protect that. That is possible. Okay, let's try that. Let's chase them back. We can't do that. We're going to have to move a knight. Let's see. Well, do we attack their queen here? We could try and do that. We could try and attack their queen as well. But we have to watch out. Okay, let's see. If we attack their queen, is there a way to put the pressure on? Okay. If we attack their queen here, they would just develop their queen probably to here. So, well, now we probably pretty much, if we retreat that, he can move up there. So, do we have to retreat back? Ah, man. Or do we go forward here and then threaten to jump into there? Does that even work? Can we go forward and threaten this fork? If we go there, he's just going to cover that fork possibility. And then we don't want to get trapped. Our knight could get trapped there. All right. Man, if we jump up there, we threaten the fork. But then he's going to move his queen to stop this fork. So where does he go? He would have to go here or here. And then is there anything we can do after that without just having this knight trapped? All right, maybe I have to retreat now. Maybe I just have to retreat. Okay, so we'll go ahead, retreat back. All right, well, he could just attack our knight here. And now do we really want a castle here with this gap in our king side? We probably want a castle on the queen side maybe, but Then he could have both his bishops lined up in that direction. And where is his knight going? This knight could jump up here. Then we probably should go here. To keep it out of there. And then we need to develop our queen. All right, so what are they thinking? They probably just need to develop their knight. They could attack with their bishop, I guess, retreat back to here, but they should have done that to begin with. Will they try and put more? Well, they could just chase my knight away with c3. Then if I go here, they could pin me. Well, no, it wouldn't be a pin now because this knight's here. Earlier, I was thinking if I retreated my knight back, this knight back, then they could have gone bishop to b5 and pinned it to my king. So, will they just chase that knight away and then... Where do I want this knight? It's good here until they chase it away with the pawn. And then, let's see. But if they do that, it's difficult to see what they might do. They'll either develop their knight or just chase my knight away with this pawn move. So I guess I have to go back here if that happens. And then, I don't know, I need to develop this queen and get castled here. All right. And is there a possibility of pushing this pawn forward? No, because... Okay, so they just develop... I guess I could play this move to keep pieces from moving forward. Or this. I could go here to keep his knight out of this position. All right. So that's probably what I'll do, is I'll just go there and keep that knight out of there. But the problem is, if I go with c6 and then he moves to the side and threatens to attack, then where does my knight go? I guess I could go there. All right. Well, do I move? Okay, I have to protect that. So, and I need to develop my queen. All right, but man, if he jumps in there, or I could just, I can't move that. Queen here, he'll just attack me. But then I need to get ready to castle. So if I go here with my queen, he jumps in there. If I pick that off and this pawn comes forward, then this pawn could become a target. So do I just play c3 here to stop this knight from moving forward? I think I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm wasting a lot of time here. Now, I guess if that knight jumps to here, I could push forward and chase that knight. And then if he goes back here, that'll give me time to develop my queen. And, well, I don't want to... I was thinking if I line my queen up on his king, but he could fall back with his bishop and block that and pin this knight to my queen. All right, and do I need to go here to fortify this pawn? So maybe push it to f6 to fortify this pawn. That way I could move this knight up here and attack his bishop, I guess. But at least we're keeping his knight out. So what will he do now? Maybe he'll develop his... Okay, so he goes there to put the pressure on. Okay. Well... All right. I guess we could attack his queen. That might work. We just send his queen back. Okay, so if we go here attacking his queen, what will that queen do? It can't come forward. It won't be able to capture that anymore. So he'll have to retreat. Where will he retreat back to? He almost has to go all the way back. Yeah, okay, so that looks to be the best move. We'll just go there and attack and send his queen back. All right, so now do we go ahead and move up here after that and attack his queen again? Yeah, maybe we go ahead and do that. All right, so now he might be thinking about this, thinking about giving up his queen. So this could be dangerous, but what if he captures this pawn? We take his queen. He gets the rook. Okay, yep, he just decides to do that instead. All right. Well, we'll just go there and then attack him. So if we attack him again, or no, that doesn't work now because that knight is gone. Ooh. Okay, we have to watch out here. I'm going to have to retreat back to here. Retreat back to there. Okay, to keep an eye on this pawn. All right, so we'll just go there, retreating back. And then I guess we could move this pawn up, protecting this pawn, kicking his queen back. Well, all right, we move this pawn up to f6, we protect this. Then we drop our bishop back and chase his queen out of there. Then we could keep our king in the middle and then figure out what to do with our rooks. Bring our rooks over here to the d file, try and double them up. All right, so I don't know, that looks like that could work. But we might have to watch out. Yeah, I was going to say we might have to watch out for that move. All right, if he jumps in there, Then he threatens that. Well, now we could just push this pawn forward, and the knight's just stuck on the edge there. Okay, I think that works. The only thing is this bishop could move down here, but is that really doing much? All right. Can we ignore him? No, because we don't want him to jump over to there. Well, we'll just go there and keep him out of our position. All right. So next we need to continue with our plan, pushing to f6, then dropping this bishop back to attack. Now, he could try to attack our knight, but I guess we could jump here. So we could try and do that. We could go here. Then if he captures us, it doubles our pawns up attacking him. Okay, so now he's just going to do that. All right. Well, we could just leave that there. We could just push forward here and fortify, but then that would leave him able to check us. Okay. We could just let him go after that. All right. Well, let's push forward. Oh, we can't do that. All right, we have to move our king up. So if we move our king up, we'll just go ahead and do that. Now we can push this forward, chase his queen out of there, and he's running low on time. All right, so he decides to do that. We'll just drop back. And now if he captures, we'll recapture and his knight will be trapped. So instead of doing that, he'll probably just push again with his pawn. But we can just retreat back and be okay, I think. All right. Well, now he's going after that. So let's go ahead and protect that. Now we can chase his queen out of there, but the queen will probably just jump up to here, try and put pressure on this pawn, but at least he's getting really low on time. So for once, I'm not the one running out of time. So let's see what they'll do next. They could just, all right, so they decide to do that. Let's go ahead and just, do we attack? We could try and trade the queens off, I guess. So, and we're ahead in material, so we might as well try and do that. Oh, but we have to watch out. If we go there, all right. We could just ignore that move. I think we'll do that. We'll just ignore that move and just, let's see here. We could drop our knight back and try and, or might as well get our rooks in the game. Let's just attack here. Let's just attack. We'll attack his bishop. So we have to activate our pieces here. So activate the pieces. Now they're really low on time. So what are they going to do if they capture our knight? Then I think they might run out of time here. Okay, so they go with that. Well, now we might as well just double up. Just double up. So we'll just go ahead and double up our rooks. Oh, we should have captured. What? Oh my gosh, I messed up because I was watching his time. I should have been focused on what I was doing. I could have just captured that, but now he's pinned. Now that's pinned to the queen. So if it moves, we just get his queen. But either way, we're going after that piece. All right, so they resigned here, and they were so low on time. But man, I was so busy watching his clock at the end that I lost track of what I was doing, and I should have just picked off that bishop. But I don't. That was. Once I get down under 5 minutes, or I don't know, down to the last few minutes, it gets hectic. I had, still had 2 minutes, but I guess I got focused on watching their clock, and then I wasn't paying attention. I should have just picked that bishop off right away. All right. I'll do a quick game review and analysis all in this video, so I'll try and get through that real quick. I didn't even look at their rating. What was it? Oh, 1434. So we gained 5 points on that one, 5 rating points. All right, so game review. So we played at 85.1 versus their 74% accuracy. All right, and so then we had 3 inaccuracies versus their 2. They had 2 mistakes. We didn't have any. And then we had 1 miss. It was probably at the end there when I should have just picked off that bishop. But we'll take a closer look at that in the analysis. And they had their 1 blunder, which was probably when they left their bishop open. Okay. We'll just blast through these moves real quick. This was the Italian game, I believe. 2 knights defense, which I guess it transposed into that. It was the Giuoco piano in the beginning, the quiet game. But then, I don't know, it wasn't so quiet there. I was kind of on the defensive for a while. All right, yeah, I guess it just really blasted through there. Is it over already? No, a few more. Okay, now it's over. All right, so I played at 1850 versus their 1500. So we'll see, what I could have done better. I had 100% opening accuracy, and so did they. So that's, pretty crazy, I guess. 65.9 in the middle game. I had 81.3. So, I just got them in the middle game. And, what did it say here? It says, you really outplayed your opponent in that one. Both of you played an amazing opening, and it says you were a cut above your opponent in the middle game. All right, so we'll take a look at the analysis from the beginning here and see what we could have done better. All right, so e4, e5. Knight to f3, attacking the pawn, and we defend with knight to c6. And they play bishop to c4, the Italian game. So they're targeting this f pawn, of course, and they could threaten to jump this knight up here at some point and put more pressure on that pawn. So we need to get castled quickly. We play here, bishop to c5, and then they go ahead and castle. So now we develop our knight. So these are all book moves. We're ready to castle, but they play d4 immediately here. So now we have to make a decision. It looks like the best move to put black ahead with a slight advantage is to capture with the bishop. And I remember this from going over another game where I think I may have either captured with the knight, or I don't think I captured with the pawn because I was worried about them pushing forward and attacking my knight, and just causing a mess. So looks like bishop captures is best, and then knight captures is best for white, but black still has the edge at this point. And then knight captures was the best move, and now we have, looks like bishop to e3 is what the computer recommends, just putting more pressure on that knight. So after bishop to e3, you would have to retreat so that they can't capture. Then if you recapture, the queen can jump out here in the center, or the bishop could capture, I guess. But what does it recommend? Well, it didn't go into that. It just says that the knight should retreat back here if bishop to e3 is played. Second and third best moves are f4 immediately here. And then knight to c3. So I was kind of wondering about this f4 move. Then if I play d6 and they capture and I capture, I was wondering about them capturing with the bishop. And then if the king capture, okay, never mind. Our queen would be protected there by the rook. So that doesn't, I was thinking about that in the game, and it didn't matter anyway, because if the king moves, the rook will be covering that queen. Okay, so in the game we had bishop to g5, pinning this knight to the queen. But right now it's 0.43 with black's advantage if I play h6 right away, which it looks like that's what I did. And now bishop to h4 was the best move. And here it looks like I should play d6 is best. And it looks like I played that. So I don't know. I got this opening right, which was much better than that game I played in day 30. I think I played 2 games, but the first one was a disaster in a Scotch Gambit, I believe, where, oh man, they just got an attack going and basically blew me off the board, I guess. So that's what happens when you don't have your openings down. You can be surprised right in the beginning with some, crazy moves, or just strong moves, and you're not sure what exactly is best to play. All right, so f4 is what they want now, and it looks like they played that. So man, they're playing this opening pretty solid. Now it wants, let's see, bishop to g4 here. And I think at some point I thought about that move. But then I saw that they could capture my knight. Then if I captured, let's see, if I captured their queen, their bishop would capture here. Okay, we'll take a look at this variation here. Okay, so now in the game I just played e6, attacking their bishop. And that's the second best move, and it still keeps black ahead with a slight edge. But let's take a look at this, because this is kind of a little bit tricky here. If we go here, I thought, well, if I do that, he could capture here and attack my queen. So let's take a look at what would be best here. Best is to capture their queen. Then they go ahead and capture. Then rook captures. And all right. Okay, I see what's going on. I was thinking I was behind in this combination, but there's this move here. Knight captures the pawn and then picks off this rook, I guess. So it's saying c3 is the best response to kick this knight away. Oh, but then that could be ignored. So, and both of these moves are equal. So either c3 trying to kick the knight or just capturing here immediately. If we capture, then we grab this pawn and they develop their knight, and then we capture the rook here. So, but c3 is also possible. So let's see what it says about that. Now here, it says instead of going to c2, it'd be better to go here and attack with that. And then if they capture, let's see, man, tricky stuff here. If they capture, instead of capturing the rook, because then the bishop would capture you, you should go here. And then we have, man, rook to c1, bishop to where? d3. Okay, bishop to d3, going after this pawn. They would capture. And then we should just go ahead and castle. And now, let's see, it recommends capturing with the d pawn. We ignore that and capture here. Then they develop their knight attacking our bishop, and we retreat back. That kind of anyway, I went pretty deep on that. So let's get back to what happened in the game before I keep going to an end game there. All right, so f4 is what they played. And then I played bishop to e6, but now it's saying that's best. So, which I didn't want to go into that crazy line of trading off the queens and everything. So this move, now it's saying f takes e5 is best, which it looks like that's what they did. So f takes e5. And now bishop takes c4 is the best move here. And so I didn't play that. Bishop takes c4. So we'd pick that off. Oh, they could pick off this. So another little crazy line. So if we capture here, bishop takes d4. Oh, well then the queen. Oh my gosh, another crazy line. Which I won't get into, otherwise we'll veer off, but this is something you could take a look at if you're interested in playing this opening yourself. So instead, we capture with the pawn to protect our knight, and then what do we have next? Oh, and this is where we could have played something better. Or no, this is white's turn. What am I thinking? All right, before I get confused here, let's keep going. So they capture our pawn. We captured back. Now it's white's turn, and they retreat to protect this pawn. And it doesn't like that. It's saying knight to a3 would have been better. So, I don't know, we'll take a look at that since it's saying that is the best move to play. And now, what does it recommend here? Queen to e7. Queen to e7. which kind of keeps an eye on the bishop. So you could capture with the queen instead. Now it recommends either c3 to chase our knight away, and then instead, if they chase our knight, it says to ignore that and capture their bishop first. And then, let's see. All right, let's take a look at this. The second best move is c3. Then bishop captures on c4. Their bishop captures our knight. We recapture with the pawn. Their knight captures here. And then knight back here to e6. All right, let's take a look at the top move here. They recommend capture, and then we capture with the pawn, but now white is slightly ahead here. Well, it's about even, or no, maybe a little bit ahead for white. c3, kicking our knight away. Now we capture. They capture with the knight, and then knight to e6 here. The only thing I'm wondering about is what if the queen jumps in here to put more pressure on this pawn? That could be an issue. It recommends queen to a4 with check, and then blocking with the pawn, and then moving the king off of this line. All right. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious about what you do if they just go here and pile up on that, on this pawn. I mean, I guess you could block, but then they could chase you away. Oh, all right. There's this threat. No, they could just retreat back, especially if the queen is there. So I don't know. It's saying to immediately go there, but what if they do this first? Well, now it does recommend this move, and then the knight retreats to block that. But now we attack the queen. But see, the queen could just, the queen can't pick that off. So if we go there, attacking the queen, queen retreats to e2. All right. Oh, and then we could pick off that pawn. Queen, this pawn's under attack. Now recommends castling long, and just forgetting about that pawn that the rook could capture. Anyway, another crazy line. So I have some research to do on this opening. Once again, before we get too deep into a bunch of different lines, let's look at what happened in the game. Bishop to d3 was played to protect this pawn. So then we played g5, and it didn't really like that move so much. It wanted queen to d6 here. So this move, jumping up here, protecting the pawn. I guess if there's an exchange, well, see, then it just gives up this exchange, or this pawn here. I mean, I guess I was worried about that pawn, and I shouldn't have been, I suppose. All right, so we'll just look at the best move, queen to d6. Then it doesn't even, only the second best move is to capture here. King to h1 is best. All right, we'll take a quick look at it. King to h1. Oh, now it's thinking. Okay, it says that's best. Now, king to g4. King to g4. Okay, I guess you're threatening the fork there. So queen to d2 to block or to stop that fork. And now you play g5. And then it looks like bishop to f2 would have been better, lining up on that knight. All right, so now castling long. And then bishop to g1 to keep your bishop pair. And knight takes c2. Oh, interesting little maneuver there. Bishop captures. All right, queen captures. Knight captures. Rook captures. And with this variation, it looks like black is ahead. And now bishop to b3. Bishop to b3. You'd think you'd want to go here maybe. Oh, but then this knight, no, the knight can't jump into there. All right. Well, recommends bishop to b3. Oh, and you're lining up on this. Okay. Well, heck, then you might as well just trade and then pick off this, I suppose. So, interesting. It's recommending rook to e2. I mean, why wouldn't you just double their pawns here? Anyway, more lines to look at. So, back to the game. We'll go back a little bit here. Pawn captures. The knight, or excuse me, the bishop retreats. We go to g5 attacking their bishop. They retreat to g3, which it says is best because you're targeting this pawn. And so now it recommends jumping up here immediately with g4 and threatening that fork. And I thought about that, but I was worried about that knight getting trapped up there. But it looks like that would have been best. So knight to d7 was the third best move. It says that's still excellent. So knight to c3, the best move. c6 here to keep them away. Let's see what else it recommended. No, that looks like that was the best move to play. c6 to just keep that knight out of the position. But it's also recommending h5 as well, I guess, to keep the queen out. All right, so the queen jumps up here to h5, and it says that that is a mistake. That knight to e2 attacking our knight would have been better. So now it's saying queen to b6, lining up on the king would be better, which it's funny. And then it says bishop to f2 will be played, which will pin this knight to your queen. So, oh, and then you pick this off. Okay, you go after the b pawn. All right, so you go here, then threaten this b pawn. You know, and if you capture that, the knight could be in trouble. But then again, you could be attacked. Well, they'd have to do something about the knight first before you're attacked. I was thinking they could, if you capture this b pawn with the queen and they attack you with a rook and then they pick this off, but the knight would be under attack. So, in the game, after queen to h5, and instead it's saying, what, knight to e2 would have been better to just attack this well-placed knight up here in their position. So now, let's see, recommends bishop to g4. Oh, okay, to pin the knight to the queen. Man. All right, let's see. Bishop to g4. Then it recommends kicking that away or forcing it to make a decision, or queen to d2, just breaking loose from that that pin. But either way, either attacking with h3 or getting out of the pin by going here. And then it just recommends a retreat of that knight. All right, well, in the game, they played queen to h5, and then we responded with a miss. Knight to f6. All right. Well, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I guess the bishop was doing a good job of covering that pawn, and I was thinking he was building pressure up here. So let's go back and see what I should have done. Once again, queen to b6 here. And then we would have a 1.2 advantage here, you know, or even higher according to this up here. All right, so here we're attacking. What is best for them to do? Bishop to f2, because we have a threat of, you know, a discovered attack here. Well, do we really? I mean, I guess we could pick off a pawn, and then they could block with their bishop, and then we could move our knight back and block, and we come out ahead of pawn there. But anyway, it recommends that they do that. And then we go ahead and pick off this pawn here, and we're attacking the knight. And then, let's see, looks like knight to e2 is best, attacking our knight. And now recommended is, oh man, moving here and attacking their queen. Wait, does that trap the queen? Let me look at this here. Knight to f6. Oh man, yeah, it looks like the queen is trapped. Can't go here. So because that queen is trapped, now we have bishop takes d4. Bishop takes d4. Okay, that attacks our queen. Then we capture with check. They capture. And then we capture their queen. And now knight to f5 jumping in there. All right, yeah, that's crazy. Just a bunch of crazy lines. Okay. Yeah, no wonder I missed all that, because there's a lot going on in that. And the time was getting, well, I don't know if the time was low yet in the game, but so I attack their queen. They attack, which is a blunder, or they capture here, which is a blunder. So best would have been just retreating the queen all the way back to d1. So we capture, which is best. Now a4 is recommended, but they attack our queen, which is still excellent. And it looks like queen to g7 would have been best, to just attack their queen. But we play here, now it's saying this is best, keeping the queen on the board, keeping an eye on this. So now knight to e2 is the best move. They move here, says that's still good. But let's see. Now it says b6 is best, which is what we played, and it keeps the knight out of the position, and now it's kind of trapped on the side of the board. So just moving back to c3 looks like that's the best move, but instead they retreat here to keep a line on this diagonal, help defend the king, and they're targeting our knight. So we just ignore that and move their king up, and that's an inaccuracy. Looks like it would have been better to just castle right here. All right. Well, they wanted us to castle. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so we'll go back. Take a look at this castling move. Now it's saying rook to d8 also. Just rook to d8 would have been better. I don't know. Castling seems like with these pawns pushed up like this, it seems kind of, well, let's see what happens after we move and see what it says about it. Now it's saying that's best. Would they want to push this pawn and try and attack us here? Looks like b3 is best to give your knight an escape square. All right, back to the game. So I moved my king up to e7. They attack the knight, which it says it's excellent, but better would be to retreat there. So now the best move is knight to b5, which was played. And now they want queen to e2, retreating that queen back. But instead they target this pawn, although it's protected by the queen, and they kind of put some pressure down here. Oh, it wants that queen to e2 move, because then it can just aim at the knight, pick it off, and then if we recapture, the queen would capture down here. So if they played that, that's something interesting to look at. If they played queen to e2, looks like they recommend us just giving that pawn up. All right, so let's take a look at that. Queen to e2, they're targeting this. Recommends, well, the second best move is just to retreat that knight. So I guess that would work. But it wants queen to g6 also, and lets you grab that extra pawn. All right. Okay, let's finish this out. We just have a few more moves. Sorry to go off on all these different lines. All right. Here we played f6, which is excellent, but it wanted us to activate this rook here on the h file, or this h8 rook to the d file, sorry, and attack immediately here. So they start to try and generate some kind of attack here. And actually, let's see what it looked like, or what they wanted. They still wanted that retreat back here to target the knight. So they attack there. And now we just move over, attack their bishop, but what does it prefer here? It's saying g4 would have been better. Oh, which really traps that queen in, man. Yeah, that really kind of traps the queen up in here. And then we could try and, so let's take a look at that. After g4, says best is b3 to make an escape for the knight, and then knight to d6. So, all right, the queen could move. If we move our bishop here, the queen could move over to here, I guess. All right, so now it says knight retreating here to d6 would be best. Okay, to the final few moves. After h4, we attack their bishop, and they retreat with this bishop, and that is an inaccuracy. So the best move would have been Queen to e2, protecting the bishop, lining up on this knight. And now, excuse me, now it recommends only third best is retreating that knight. It recommends either bishop. Oh, I see. Bishop to g4. So if the queen takes, we take with our rook. But the best move, it looks like, is this. And then you would have, and now it's saying knight to c7 retreating is better. But if we played that, you'd have that, capture, queen captures, and then where do we go from here? Now bishop to d7, attacking. Queen to b4, and then a5. All right, queen to b3. Oh man, you're really trapping that queen in here. Or now it's saying a3 as well, because here looks like capturing, and then you could capture the knight. All right, anyway, after this bishop to f2 move, the best move is to immediately pick off that bishop. So I don't know. At this point, I was looking at his low 12 seconds left, counting his clock counting down, and I got distracted and didn't capture there. So yeah, the best move would have been to immediately pick off that, and then we'd be ahead even more. So now it's saying knight to c5. What? And letting the knight get captured. Then, capturing with check here. All right. So, what do we have next? What do we have next? All right. So back to bishop to f2. We move here, and we should have picked off their bishop. So now they must have realized that that bishop was unprotected. So they move up here to protect it, which they should have gone here to keep pressure on this as well. And let's see, so we go back and look at that. Queen to f3, it looks like would have been the best move. You keep pressure here once this moves, and you're protecting this. And then if we double up, I guess their rook can come in behind. Or no, they can just move. So what am I thinking? They have time to move out of the way. All right. The final few moves, finally. Queen to d1. So we pile up here on the bishop and pin that bishop to the queen. The queen moves out of the way. But better would have been that check right there. So let's take a quick look at that. Better would have been, or the best move would have been that check. And then the king just moves out of the way, because you don't want to capture and then give this knight some counterplay, attacking, protecting the bishop and all that. So it looks like just moving up here would have been better. But now you have queen to f3. I guess counterattacking here. Or even blocking with the bishop there. But you just pick this off right here. And if they capture, the queens are traded. And the rook gets in your position. So anyway, they could have put up a better defense, but by then their clock was running down. So we doubled up. We picked that off. And did they resign there, I think? And it says the game may have continued with these following moves here. Huh, well that's interesting that you would let this possibility happen of, picking off here and all of that. Okay, well, let's see how it plays out. Capture, capture, capture. Oh, but then we have this move going after their queen. All right, anyway, that's how the game could have progressed, but at this point, black is just ahead, and my opponent was so low on time, and he resigned. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this day 31, I believe it was. So we'll just keep moving along and see if we can get that rating up. We've been in a little bit of a slump, so hopefully we'll have some better games here and watch the clock better and not run out of time, which we did a little bit better, but we're still down to 2 minutes. Okay, if you haven't liked and subscribed already, please go ahead and do that to support the channel. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions at any time, or requests if there's any chess topics you would like to see, because other than this series I do other videos on different chess topics, learning all areas of chess. If you would like to see something specific, just leave a comment. All right, thank you all for watching and have a super chess day.